Hi everyone, I'm Terry and thank you so much for being here and watching this. I haven't been on YouTube for quite a while because I've been so busy with other things, but YouTube and other social media platforms are very important to me because, and solely because of my ultimate and biggest and dearest passion in life, which is animal rescue and animal advocacy. I love dogs, cats, and um, all other animals, and that is my single most driving ambition and passion in life. And everything that I do will be tied in with animals and will ultimately be for benefiting animals. Um, and, you know, the aspect of inspiration and motivation and life coaching is still important to me. My business with my organic, holistic, serum based products is also important to me, and I do continue those. I've been having success with my business. I want to have more success, because I know that I'm bringing something very useful and different that has not been done before into uh, the mainstream, which is what I'm working on, and making it available to everyone. However, I've found that there's a truth in my life. There are a lot of truths, but this truth is the most important to me. And Puba, my love, um, I call him Sunny. Sunny brought this to me. I nicknamed him Sunny after the song by Bobby Hebb, Sunny. And he really, there's a truth that he made me see, and that is that I love animals beyond any and all else. And I feel that it'll never be adequate. Everything will never be adequate enough to save all of the animals in this world. And animals are truly innocent. They never have a bad thought. They never have a bad intention, especially dogs and cats, in my view. And I'm sure in that of so many others all over the world. I want to do all that I can and give all that I can, give my all. Um, my entire soul is for animals. And so everything that I do is ultimately tied in and to benefit animals. And I can only do my all and my best, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I will be doing. So social media, for that reason, is very important to me. Those are my personal reasons. So I have been very busy because I have to take care of the base things that are going on. The base things are going on that have been going on is that in order to breathe, in order to live, I have to take care of the my house. Fortunately, I've been able to move recently in the past couple months. Um, I I've always been looking for a mid-century property, which is really important, but it has needed extensive renovations. It was fine the way it was. Nothing that had to be immediately done, but these are things that I needed to do in order to make it a more livable and viable space. So the ducks needed, actually, on that part, let me backtrack. Yes, there are things that needed to be done, like the ducts, the insulation, uh, a lot of things like that. And then there are things that I felt should be done in order to make it more habitable and livable, because, you know, where you lay your head is where it gives you the impetus every day to wake up and do well for yourself. I mean, you need that, obviously. You know, you can't sleep on rocks and pebbles and wake up feeling good. And I'm sure there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who do sleep on rocks and pebbles and under the freeway and all those things. And I cannot imagine that they wake up feeling good. But if we're able to, we should do the best for ourselves that we can. With that being said, I was not really feeling it today as far as doing a YouTube. There is something that put this YouTube in motion, and I'm going to get to that soon. I woke up this morning. I actually woke up very early. I have had no sleep. I didn't sleep last night. Again, I've been awake all night. And I woke up early this morning and started doing some painting, which not just this painting. I'm going to start doing paintings for the benefit of animals, to raise money for charity. And that is going to be the nonprofit that I am hoping and wanting and wishing and having as my goal to start. But in order to start a nonprofit, it takes a lot of resources. It takes paperwork, it takes resources. So I'm trying to raise money to raise money, and I'm going to do paintings, you know, and whatever else that's enjoyable that I'm good at, so that I can sell and raise money for my goal of starting a nonprofit, which is going to be part of my overall goal and business for animal advocacy, rescue and advocacy. So I woke up this morning and I did some necessary painting. I've been painting the door frames, which are coming out really nicely, because I'm using some very high quality paint, and I've gotten an education in painting that I wasn't necessarily looking for. And I mean renovation painting, not artistic painting, which somebody was very kind. He was very kind, and I mean, this guy is so good at what he does, and he really shared information and tips with me, and I've learned so much from him in just one day. That there is a difference in paints that you use and all that, but I don't want to get too far off the subject. So I woke up this morning, brushed my teeth, washed my face, floss, brushed my teeth again. Yeah, I have OCD in quite a few areas. Anyways, so had some water, and then the first thing I did after all of that is just I started pouring and painting. I poured the paint into the vessel, the pan, and I've been painting, and that's kind of gotten me out of my mood that I've been in, because I've been in quite a mood for a while, because of the renovations, which is one of them. It is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It's messy, it's stressful. You see one thing that you want to do and or needs to be done, then you see 10 more that need to be done because you started one thing and now you have to continue it with several other things, or it's not, you know, it's not right. So that's been so stressful. And on the other hand, I've learned, I have a lot of hard-won wisdom. I still have my faults, but I've also learned to be positive about a lot of things and thankful and grateful. I'm wearing a vintage Barbie shirt. I love this shirt. I've had it for a long time. The reason I mention this is it's because it ties into being grateful. It's such a small thing to have a vintage shirt, you know, it's just clothing, you know. But the thing is that I've learned to be, through my wisdom that I've gained, I've learned to be grateful for little things and also for big and important things. And the little things sometimes can help you to feel um, a little more energized, because you know little things can make your day. So I'm thankful even for having a vintage Barbie shirt, you know. I'm thankful for the big important things like my health. I'm thankful for that, for my physical health, because honestly, um, up here I'm having a lot of issues. I have my past, you know, I have quite a record. I've never kept that a secret, and I don't want to, because it's part of my platform to inspire and motivate others, um, which I mentioned when I first started YouTube. It really means a lot to me to continue to be a life coach and to inspire and motivate others through my record, my past, my adversities, my bads, my goods, my negatives, my positives, and my experiences, um, to inspire others to do better and to live better, as I am hoping to do. Um, but I have found that my past and my adversities, having been abused, having been um, the child of sociopath parents, sociopath relatives, dysfunctional family, um, and then the way that they raised me, instead of becoming a sociopath, I became an empath, which I feel is just as bad, because that's on the opposite end of the spectrum. You are an empath, is that you feel too much. You're one of the many, maybe symptoms. I'm not a PhD, but one of the many symptoms is to be too loyal, too feeling, too um, everything that you shouldn't be to people, humans. And it's caused me a lot of pain. And so as an empath, I've attracted more sociopath, more dysfunctional relationships in my life. And it took me a long time to realize that and to learn it. And I learned those things on my own. There was nobody to help me. And so those things are taking a toll on me now. Because of those things, I have a very severe anxiety disorder. Some days the anxiety is so severe and so bad that it's debilitating. Um, and with it all comes the stress and the distress and the memories and, um, you know, other dysfunction like being OCD, and I have compulsion, you know. I've briefly mentioned my compulsion before on my other vlogs on YouTube, and I will get into them, some vlogs from now also, a little more detailed. But anyway, so it's a physical compulsion, you know. So some days have been even more difficult than others, and then I have some really good days too. I've met some people who are, and it's not because of my past, because I think they're just taking me on face value right now, but I have told them about my past, the most important things, but they've been really supportive. These are really successful people, and they're very, they're just so beautifully supportive, and they're good people, you know, and I appreciate that. So that's another thing I'm grateful for. But I've also learned not to allow myself to use people as a crutch. You have to be able to stand on your own because you never know what's in the future, you know. And so you have to be your own rock. At least, you know, in my life, it's been that way. So, yeah, so with home renovations and then, you know, moreover, the anxiety and stress, I haven't been doing YouTube lately, and that even stresses me out. So, because I want to do YouTube and or other social media platforms for my animal advocacy. It's all ultimately for the benefit of animal advocacy. However, there was something today that prompted me to do this YouTube, and I dedicate this YouTube and I dedicate everything good to Puba because ultimately I want these things to be another brick in the house of my goal for animals. I was having my morning tea and coffee, and I was watching YouTube. And so I saw a very popular YouTuber. I don't watch her anymore. You know, today was the first time that I've watched her in approximately since maybe 2016 or 17, I believe, if I'm correct. She's just like this guilty fun thing because she's amusing in all of her overt drama. I'm that's the only reason I watch her. Trisha Paytas. I came across her channel today and I watched her latest video, and she was apologizing for some things, and I feel like this was her one and only ever real feeling video. But during the initial phase of the video, she was apologizing. She was apologizing for having ever, for instance, worn certain braids because people commented that it was cultural appropriation. She apologized for wearing native clothing. She apologized for things like that. And that's the only thing I'm going to speak on. I do not agree with anything else of hers. I think, you know, she's a train wreck. But you know what? She's a human being and we all have issues. So here's my thing, is that she was really hurt by the things that have been going on social media, namely regarding herself. So I want to say these two things for now. One is that I don't feel that she should have apologized for having worn braids, for having worn native clothing, for having done certain videos, whether it be cosplay or something else. Listen, this has become a overly toxic society, especially in the last couple of months. And anybody who's watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's gotten to the point where people are giving in to mob and bully actions, if you will. Enough is more than enough. Listen, and this is my opinion, and I'm not going to apologize ever because I am not saying or doing anything wrong. I'm being real, and I'm stating realities. blacks or any race or any culture, I feel probably about 7 out of 10 will gladly play the victim when they're encouraged to. This cancel culture, these things, I did not want to speak on this. I really, for initially and for a long time, I didn't want to speak on this because I didn't want to be that person. However, and for me to be speaking on it now has been really bothering me. Whether it's celebrities or other people coming forward with their so-called truth, you know, I'll put that in quotes, truth. And apologizing for this and that when there's really no necessitation to apologize, because whatever jokes were made years ago, I can't speak for everybody, you know, but jokes are made because at the time it's acceptable and it's okay. And I'm not saying that racism is never okay. No kind of prejudice is ever okay. You know, it's not. But all jokes, all movies, statues, emblems, colors, team names are not always intended, and most of the time are not intended. I can confidently say 95% of the time are not intended to be racist or prejudiced in any way, or to be derogatory towards any race or group or culture in any manner. In fact, a lot of the times it's acknowledging. It's acknowledgement, in fact, in a good way. Aunt Jemima syrup? Really? They wanted to change that name? I think that's wrong. I mean, to me, Aunt Jemima has always been a childhood favorite, you know? To me, it's always stood for, oh, a syrup that's just as good as what Aunt Jemima served with her pancakes. That's a good thing. But yet, companies, businesses, celebrities, non-celebrities, everybody who wants some relevance, maybe that's what they're doing it for. But maybe they're just doing it for attention. It's just not right to cancel things on your own, or to apologize for something that you've been bullied into apologizing for publicity reasons or any reason at all, you know, or been made to feel guilty when you shouldn't be guilty. You know, Trisha Paytas, for example, when she was wearing braids, I'm not privy to her personal life at all, you know, but, and I think I'm right about this, I don't think she was doing it to offend any race or anybody. I think she wore the braids at the time because she liked it. It was a wig. She felt she wanted to wear it just for looks. I don't think, and I'm not a mind reader, I'm not professing to be one, I'm not professing to be a PhD, but I don't think in her mind was going, oh, you know what, I want to offend African Americans, so I'm going to wear these braids. I don't think that was her intention at all, or it even ran through her mind like that. When people wear native clothing of another culture, I think it's an acknowledgement, or maybe because they think it's pretty, or they're playing dress up, or they're traveling, they're going to that land and they want to honor that culture, or there's so many positive reasons that people would dress up in native clothing. So from now on, are we to walk around, all of us, with shaved heads and wearing beige and not speaking unless we've been given our allotted hour to speak? Is this what this world is going to come to? Because I kind of feel like it is, and I'm not being dramatic or I think I'm being realistic in saying that's what it kind of feels like. You know, the last couple months, it's become absolutely insane the way that everything's just what they don't want to call John Wayne Airport anymore. They want to call it Orange County Airport because supposedly John Wayne was a bigot, a racist. Oh, they might bring up some things from his past that he said during an interview, but that's just the way you want to take it. I don't think he meant it as anything racial. Um, some old episodes of the Golden Girls when they were wearing a mud mask, that offended black people? Really? I mean, this is so utterly ridiculous and wrong. You know, you want to pander to mob and bully culture because that's what it is. It's not just cancel culture, it's mob and bully culture. It's ridiculous. Stop apologizing for everything. If you did something wrong and at the time you did it, at the time you said it, and or did it, and you had bad intentions, then by all means apologize. But if you had only good intentions, if you were doing something innocently and you didn't do it with the intent to offend anyone or anything, then don't apologize. Stop apologizing. There's no reason for it. Is it because you want attention? Well, that's a different story. But then you're being fake and phony by doing that. People need to stop bowing down to bullshit. People need to stop apologizing for things that they don't need to apologize for. Listen, if you're a good person, you know you're a good person. And if you're an asshole, you know you're an asshole. Okay? You know your intentions, and I'm sure that your actions probably show your intentions at the time. But let's get real. I mean, nobody's ever said anything about the movie White Chicks. I believe it was kind of a franchise, wasn't it? But that hasn't been canceled. You know? So if a white person wears braids or maybe even frizzy hair in the shape of an afro, that's offensive. Well, let me ask this. If black people straighten their hair, which they do on a daily basis, and wear contact lenses to make it look like they have blue eyes when they have brown eyes, shouldn't Caucasians, shouldn't whites be offended by that? I mean, you know, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. But has anybody thought about that though? But yet we don't get offended, you know, with all the relaxers that are on the market and are being used. Colored contacts, straight hair wigs, extensions. I mean, come on. Life is a two-way street, you know, and I'm not privy to events that have gone on. Like, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the mind of the person. I wasn't in the mind of, we'll take the George Floyd incident. For example, I didn't want to be that person, but I'm here now because I really feel strongly about this. What that dirty cop did was murder. I feel it was murder. It was straight murder. He murdered that man. That man should not have been murdered. Whether or not he was using counterfeit money. Okay? But here's the thing. When after the fact you want to glorify somebody, don't glorify him. He was a criminal. But I have a record. Okay? Nobody's perfect. In fact, I have quite a long record. You know, nobody is above reproach. No human is above reproach. But here's the thing. They wanted to glorify him after the fact. Don't glorify him. Say he did not deserve to be murdered. Okay? Stop using that as a momentum to bully events and people. You know, there was a gymnast who recently made the cover of a magazine. Annie Leibovitz was the photographer. She is an icon. I mean, anybody who knows would want to be photographed by her. At least I think so. But yeah, there was a problem with that. Everybody was, for 2 seconds, they were angry because she wasn't photographed by a black photographer like herself. Because Annie Leibovitz didn't highlight her coloring in the manner to which black people felt like it should be highlighted. What? They were beautiful photographs. You know, I mean, you give a hand, they take the wrist, they take the forearm, they take the arm. And by they, I mean any group. Because that's what this society has become. It's become a toxic society. Just yesterday, I read it on my news feed in the morning about a homeless black man who died as a result of injuries from doing a backflip. Who encouraged him to do a backflip? Well, so the story goes, according to the homeless man's sister, that he had been released from the hospital and he was walking home, which is contradictory. If he's homeless, then how is he walking home? But we won't get into that. Anyways, he was walking along. He asked an individual, another man, for money, and the man apparently told him, "I'll give you money if you do this backflip." He did the backflip. He was injured, and long story short, the man delayed the homeless man from getting medical help. Apparently told some others, no, don't call medical. Eventually medical was called, the paramedics came and got him, and he died of his backflip injury in the hospital. And then his family came forward to put up what? A GoFundMe page. I don't feel I should judge, so I'm going to state my opinion, which is widely shared. This family didn't give a shit about him all this time, but they come forward now and launch a GoFundMe to have a very, very expensive funeral for him. Had he died in a different way, they probably wouldn't have even known or cared. Probably, I'm not saying for sure, because I don't know. I don't know. But after he dies, they launch a GoFundMe. What kind of toxic society is this? But now, did they launch a GoFundMe to pay for his medical bills in the ER where he died? No, they're not going to pay those medical bills. They're just going to leave him. Are they going to give back in any way from this GoFundMe, which apparently they've made some substantial money from already? Probably not. They're probably not going to pay it forward. So basically, this GoFundMe is a vehicle by which to make extra money for themselves and, as an afterthought, pay for a funeral. They don't need a $15,000 funeral. And I say that because they wouldn't have had it most likely had he died of natural causes or illness, or if he had been hit by a car. But because this has been put in the news and sensationalized when it shouldn't have been, there you go. But where's the personal responsibility? This man chose to do the backflip. If somebody tells you do a backflip and I'll give you some money, no matter how bad you need the money, you know you cannot do a backflip, you shouldn't do it. It's simple. The man chose to do the backflip. The other man did not push him into it. He encouraged him. According to the article, he was goaded into it, but still he was not forced to do it. He chose to do it for money. This has not only become a toxic society where personal responsibility is no longer important, where accountability is no longer important, where protesters can break down the gates